Let's talk about some cinema memories. Now, there's nothing like seeing a movie on the big screen, but it was always about more than just the film. It was about the experience. The lights, the sounds, the smell of the overpriced popcorn. It all left an impression on me from a really young age. Some of my earliest memories are seeing all those flashing images and colours up on the screen, too big for my brain to process. I didn't just like seeing the film, I liked seeing the trailers, the adverts, and even the logos. I always hated it when we come in late and miss all that stuff. Back in the early 2000s, sometimes they'd even put things on the screen before the showing even started, like ads or movie trivia questions. The answer would usually be upside down on the bottom of the screen, and I'd always try to cheat by turning my head to the side. What a boy. When I was little, we only had one local cinema, the UCI. It was stuffed right in the middle of a shopping centre, and there used to be another shop just opposite that sold popcorn and sweets at half the price. Talk about a business rival. Now, I loved the UCI. That bright yellow logo always stood out to me, but in the 90s, their presentation was actually pretty dark. This probably would have spooked me as a kid, but later on, they changed it to be much brighter and more colourful, which is how I remember it. It always got me hyped for seeing a movie. Around 2004 or so, UCI was bought out, so the following year, our local cinema got turned into an Odeon. I always thought it was kind of a shame. It's still the cinema I'm the most nostalgic for, but fortunately, its legacy lives on in other countries to this day. Still, the Odeon had some pretty cool logos of their own. Way before I was born, they had this super 80s logo that sucks you straight back to that time, with a giant model of an Odeon cinema floating in the nebulous void between dimensions. I think every cinema should just be a big glowing building like this. And the music sounds like it came straight from a Sega Mega Drive. I bet it sounded great in the cinema.
Welcome to the First Choice.
Through the 90s, the logos only got crazier, with all kinds of cinema stuff flashing at the screen. I kind of miss this 90s aesthetic. It's very colourful and immersive. In the 2000s, Odeon became fanatical about film, and this is mainly how I remember it. Everything was either blue or sparkly. Sometimes it felt like the logos were practically underwater. And you have to love all those old promotions for all the outdated ways you could buy your movie tickets. Yeah, just pick up your landline and ring up the Odeon, or get on Sky and do it all with your TV remote. It was a serious novelty back then. One Odeon logo I'll never forget is one with this jazzy music.
Here and now, let's get this straight. Boogaloo, baby, I made it great.
I always loved this one. It's the definition of classy. I remember seeing a movie once where they had some technical difficulties with the screen, so they had this logo playing on repeat, something like 20 times. It was pretty funny. Around 2006, another cinema near me opened up called The View. At the time, their logos were never quite as memorable to me. It always looked a bit more like an ad for a clothes shop than a cinema. But I know I'll always remember this.
A unique experience.
The cheesy pun to end all cheesy puns.
Welcome to View, the future of cinema.
Strangely, before View, the company was known as Warner Village Cinemas. I've talked about this before, but this cinema was always a serious nostalgia trip to me. It just looked cool. How can you not love a cinema filled with this much atmosphere and statues of the Looney Tunes? Bring it back, I say. There was also another really obscure cinema a bit further out from where I lived, the UGC. It only lasted a few years, and it seems to have vanished into a black hole of nostalgia.
UGC Cinemas is now online, so if you want the best of the world's films at your fingertips with instant advance booking and all program information at the touch of a button, visit www.ugccinemas.co.uk today.
I always confused it with the UCI, so maybe that just makes it harder to remember, but I definitely saw Ice Age there. Does anyone else have memories of this place? I'd love to know. UGC eventually became Cineworld, which still exists now, but strangely, I've never actually been to one. Looking at some of their old idents though, it really is shocking. Wow, I don't think I've ever seen something this tacky in all my life. Just look at the primitive CGI. It's like the exact opposite of classy. Trailers were always a big part of the cinema experience, and sometimes you couldn't even walk into a cinema without seeing one. Like, remember when cinemas had all those big TVs mounted to the walls? They'd always have VHS tapes playing all the latest trailers and ads. As a kid, sometimes I'd just stand there staring up at them, you know, to get myself excited before going into the big screen. People must have thought I was nuts. Speaking of ads, usually they were distributed to cinemas by an outside company, like the classic Pearl and Dean. They provided the ads for View at the time, and I always loved hearing that theme song. There's probably a lot I could say about cinema ads, but the one bizarre thing is that they always had age ratings. Yeah, just like the movies. Like, what are you gonna do? Ask your mum for parental guidance just so you can watch an ad for mobile phones? I always thought it was weird. So yeah, Pearl and Dean was iconic, but they weren't the only company that provided ads to cinemas. In fact, throughout the late 90s and the early 2000s, there was another screen advertising company, a company born in 1996, the same year as me. A company with a logo that haunted my childhood nightmares. This was terrifying. Just before the ads, this logo would always play in the UCI, and it completely freaked me out. It felt like they always cranked the sound up to full blast whenever it came on, so you could hear all those flames sizzling at your skin, and the visuals didn't help either. As a kid, everything looked twice as huge up on the big screen, so it really was like getting a fiery star brand stabbed straight into your eyeballs. I wonder why they made it so intense. I mean, the company, Carlton, weren't really known for having hard-hitting logos. Okay, so their VHS logo had slightly eerie music. But apart from that, their logos were completely harmless. In fact, they used to have a TV channel called Carlton Cinema, and they didn't use this raging inferno look at all. No, they saved their scariest logo just for the cinema. Thanks, guys. So whose idea was it to take Carlton into the fires of hell? Well, I can come up with a few theories, but I guess it'll always be a mystery. But you know what? For as much as this logo creeped me out, for as much as it made me feel like I was getting roasted by a burning star brand, deep down, at the bottom of my heart, I kind of loved it. It's a bit hard to explain. I mean, it was scary, but exciting at the same time. It was like an attack on all my kids' senses. Some kids had to cover their eyes when this logo came on, but I could never look away from it. It still burned into my head. Probably literally. But as the years went on, Carlton screen advertising eventually burned out into ashes. In 2008, they dropped the branding in the UK, though it continued to operate in Ireland until 2014, when the sparks finally faded for good. These days, it's all kind of the same thing. Everything's either CGI or digital, and you don't really see crazy logos like this anymore, which is kind of a shame. I'd love to see it make a comeback and traumatize a new generation, but for a few years in my childhood, it was the perfect logo to focus my attention and immerse me in the world of movies. And that's what makes it one of my all-time favorite cinema memories. Thanks for watching this video, and look out for more reviews coming soon.